So Cyberpunk 2077 is back on the menu again, boys, because thanks to the 2.0 update and the amazing Phantom Liberty DLC, there is a ton to talk about and go back through to explore again with fresh, upgraded eyes. So let's have a chat about them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and this is Cyberpunk 2077, 10 Easter eggs, secrets, and references you must see. Number 10, The Office. Kicking off this list is a reference to the classic US show The Office. This satirical take on blue-collar work across America really struck a chord with audiences, so much so that it lasted 9 seasons from 2005 all the way to 2013. To many, it embodied the mundane life of office work, but also found its way into Cyberpunk 2077 years later. This Easter egg was first discovered by Reddit user Rackety Gecko, and can be found relatively early on in the game. For the quest Big in Japan, V heads down to the docks to collect a particular package. It turns out that this package is a person and you'll need to keep him alive and bring him over to the quest giver. Rescuing this Japanese doctor on the run from the Night City gangs will prompt a story between Dennis and Hidetoshi. Their conversation unfolds similarly to a conflict in the TV show, specifically the episode Happy Hour in Season 6, where Hidetoshi describes how he accidentally murdered a Tiger Claws gang leader in surgery and fled to Night City to escape. Small as it might be, this secret reference was well recognised by many a fan of the widely enjoyed TV show. Number 9, 10 Cloverfield Lane's Emergency Bunker. Now, beginning in 2008, the Cloverfield film franchise crafted a unique reputation for its reliance on a mystery box formula. Each film was laced with mystery, relying on viral marketing to raise audience interest while also revealing very little about their individual plots. The first Cloverfield was a giant monster flick, and the third was an interdimensional spacefaring romp. Now, while the series has since fallen out of prominence thanks to the, let's just say it, failure of the Cloverfield paradox, the first 2 entries in the series are still recognised for their individual qualities. 10 Cloverfield Lane was perhaps the best entry, creating a claustrophobic tale of 3 survivors who were hunkering down in an emergency bunker. Now, CD Projekt Red clearly enjoyed the film as well, as it found its way into Cyberpunk. Right on the eastern edge of Night City's map, you can find an inconspicuous bunker under a wind turbine. Go inside and you'll find a body with a shirt very similar to the one that John Goodman wears in the film. Major food supplies and barrels of chemical waste are also inside the bunker, which is a clear nod to the events of the film. And adding to that is a journal entry showing how a man aimed to protect a woman inside the shelter, and you've got a fairly straightforward and pretty prominent Easter egg. Number 8, 3 Seashells from Demolition Man. Released in 1993, Demolition Man is an insanely over-the-top cult classic. It pits Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes against each other in the ultimate 90s confrontation. Now, what makes this film hold up today is its rather oddball take on the future. All full of zany laws and satirical takes on human nature all really make the setting stand out, and one of these elements was concerned with doing your business. In order to apparently save paper in the future, people of the future use 3 seashells in the bathroom. How do they work? Well, nobody really knows, and it became a bit of a talking point following the film's release. Audiences were going back and forth discussing the finer details of this, well, rather insignificant detail. Clearly, CD Projekt took note as the 3 seashells made their appearance in this game. One of the more infamous elements of Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes' wacky sci-fi flick can be discovered in the bathroom of V's apartment. You're in that building very early on in the game, so there's no issue finding them. For all of its sci-fi trappings, it's rather a good thing that CD Projekt Red stopped at crotch customization, because things would have gotten pretty awkward had they taken the immersion a step further. Number 7, Pondsmith Street. Long before Cyberpunk 2077 was even a concept in an elevator pitch, the property can trace its roots all the way back to 1988. Back when tabletop games were really starting to gain popularity, Mike Pondsmith came up with the idea of a more futuristic title and laid the groundwork for development efforts to come. Pondsmith published the game through R. Talsorian Games, and aimed to represent the genre that had been popularized by the likes of Blade Runner and other properties. The game would end up releasing 4 times, with the most recent edition, Cyberpunk 2020, serving as a prequel to CD Projekt Red's own project. As the creator of the Cyberpunk universe, it was only fitting that Mike Pondsmith receive a shout-out in the game, and in Japantown you'll find a street named after him. Once again, this is the game's first act, and the player only needs to really take a glance up at the street names whilst driving around, and the name can be found hanging on a large red sign. While tabletop games aren't quite as popular as video games 3 decades on, CD Projekt definitely still paid tribute to the individual who inspired their development efforts. It's a simple yet rather effective Easter egg. Number 6, Batty's Hotel under Blade Runner. Of the many science fiction classics that have lined the silver screen, few films have been as influential as Blade Runner. Created and directed by Ridley Scott, it delivers one of the most absorbing settings ever seen in the genre. The dingy dystopian streets of the future Los Angeles served as the perfect backdrop for its themes and story. The titular Blade Runner, Rick Deckard, as played by Harrison Ford, hunted down a band of rogue androids, and along the way, many deep questions surrounding transhumanism were explored. As a result, the production drew a massive following despite its rather weak box office performance at the time, so showing up in Cyberpunk 2077 was practically a no-brainer. Several elements of the game take inspiration from Blade Runner, most notably the character Misty, who is clearly modelled after the android Pris. Other references can be found in the game world, such as in the questline Maptan Palen, a hotel sign can be seen in the southern region of Pacifica. Roy Batty is the leader of the replicants in the 1982 film, and Cyberpunk tributes him in both the hotel's name and also a body sitting in the same fashion Batty found himself in the Blade Runner climax. Ultimately, the film is easily the most prevalent reference to be found from CD Projekt Red. Number 5. Death Stranding Baby Tank. As a widely acclaimed developer in the gaming industry, Hideo Kojima has consistently sold games on his name alone. After a bad breakup with Japanese publisher Konami, the auteur struck out on his own with a new company and project. From the moment it was first announced, Death Stranding stood out as an oddball title that aimed to be far more metaphorical than most AAA releases. It was met with, well, pretty mixed reviews on launch, but its unique gameplay loop of delivering packages and building bridges for other players definitely left an impact, and CDPR definitely appear to be fans of Hideo Kojima's work, as a bridge baby tank can be found on River's questline. Search in the back rooms of a sinister lab and you'll find it in the mission The Hunt, where the baby inside the tank is used to form a link between the living and dead in Death Stranding, with protagonist Sam Bridges carrying one with him at all times. Fittingly enough, the quest in Cyberpunk 2077 involves the brutal harvesting of children's bodies, with the tank being found at the back of the farming facility. So blending the two science fiction franchises together definitely was a neat touch. Number 4. War Rig from Mad Max Fury Road. Back in the 70s and 80s, one action movie franchise made a brilliant impression with its blistering car chases, and its name was Mad Max, and it was created by Australian director George Miller. Some 3 decades later, Miller returned to his most acclaimed franchise with Mad Max Fury Road, a monster of a movie that set the standard for practical effects and modern action set pieces. As the titular character teams up with Furiosa, audiences were treated to a seriously awesome chase in a world destroyed by the apocalypse. Looking at Cyberpunk 2077, you can see some elements of Fury Road making their way into the title, most notably in the Badlands. Outside of Night City, the player drives through many a scorched desert, and while it's not as barren a landscape as the film, the influence is still definitely there. In a more overt Easter egg, George Miller's recent action classic can actually be found via a large war rig in the Technica industrial area. Located to the south of the city, you can find the rig sitting alongside some bodies and a message. The note tells of a failed escape that homages the 2015 film. Unfortunately though, it can't be driven. Number 3. Fallout Vault 101. From one post-apocalyptic series to another, the Fallout franchise has long been established as an iconic RPG. The series has fallen on hard times recently under Bethesda, especially with Fallout 76. Cool, love it. But it still has a strong fan base to this day. Yay! This is especially true for the older isometric releases and New Vegas. The series built its name on offering a unique vision of the future in which the Cold War never really ended and nuclear energy became the leading power source for all of humanity. Similar historical divergences occur in Cyberpunk 2077's world as early as the 2020s, with the rise of corporations and Johnny Silverhand's ill-fated assault on Arasaka Tower. Often in Fallout, you'll start off in a vault, which are nuclear shelters designed to shield humanity from the nuclear apocalypse. In Fallout 1 and 3, you start off inside one of them and learn their finer intricacies of life before then being tasked with a mission that sends you out into the wasteland. As such, CD Projekt Red added in an Easter egg. Referencing both the original Fallout and its 3D debut, a corpse lies in front of a familiar circular door found in the southwest side of the Badlands, and according to the note, the occupants were venturing out to look for a hydro processor, just like the plot of the original Fallout. Number 2. The Witcher magazine cover. Before Cyberpunk 2077 came along, CD Projekt Red were best known for the Witcher franchise, a Polish property that has gone on to achieve immense popularity worldwide. After starting off small with the original Witcher title and expanding to new heights with Assassins of Kings, Wild Hunt was the title that sent CDPR soaring to the top of video game development. On top of that, the team also placed a reference to Cyberpunk into The Witcher 3 5 years before that futuristic RPG arrived. And when Big G finally finds Ciri in the game's latter half, she tells of a different dimension where everyone has a flying car. This nod towards the property spoke volumes about the direction CDPR were going, and as we all found out, development on Cyberpunk 2077 didn't actually start until 2016, despite it being announced much earlier. Be that as it may, this didn't stop the devs from tying things back to the franchise that they were best known for. In a reference to CDPR's previous work, a magazine cover featuring The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt can be found in V's corpo office drawer in the game's opening. And in order to see it, all you need to do is when you're finished talking with your boss, head to your office as part of an optional objective. And number 1, GLADOS appearance. Equally as respected in the PC space, Valve Corporation is a leading company for the platform. After revolutionizing the FPS genre twice with the Half-Life franchise, they went on to seize control of a solid portion of the market with Steam. And all these years later, after its initial launch, it remains the go-to place for digital distribution, with a solid portion of gamers flocking to their storefront every day. Valve's games have also made an equally tremendous impact, and one such example was 2007's Portal, a first-person puzzle game that uses 2 portals to enable traversal. And the title is remembered as not only an excellent entry point into gaming, but also as a game loaded with great writing and humor. And much of the latter came from the nefarious artificial intelligence GLADOS, who was the overseer of the Aperture Science Facility. She's become the most memorable character in the entire series, with her snarky quips and insults being a constant presence throughout the test chambers. And in Cyberpunk 2077, she ended up making an appearance in Delamain's quest, as one of the rogue taxis has been taken over by the famous AI from Portal, and tracking down one of their cars leads to a conversation that many a player will grasp straight away. And there we go, my friends, that was Cyberpunk 2077, 10 Easter eggs, secrets and references you must see. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below, because even though we've spoken a lot about secrets and hidden stuff, there is one thing that is clear as day, and that is that you are a massive legend. You deserve all the bloody best things in life, alright? As always, I've been Jules, you have been awesome, never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.